Hi, I'm Simone, and this is the Happily Self-Conscious podcast, the show where it's cool to be self-conscious. As a personal development enthusiast, I love to learn how I can become better in all areas of life, and I want to share with you transformative tips and tricks to help you also become your best self. Together, we'll learn how we can become more self-conscious. Let's do it. Welcome to episode number 24 of the Happily Self-Conscious podcast. This is the first episode of 2024. It's a new year, and I'm super excited about the year as a whole. I'm excited for season 2. Time really flies when you're having fun. I'm enjoying this, and I hope you are too. Thank you for those of you who tuned in last year. Thank you for those of you who follow the podcast. It really does help the show, and I'm excited for all that this year has to offer. So let's get into today's episode, which is all about intuitive intelligence. I really love the way it sounds. It sounds so fancy and smooth. Intuitive intelligence, or following your intuition, is all about being in tune with your body. It's truly being in tune with your body and paying attention to what you feel. And becoming more intuitively intelligent is possible for everyone because we all have intuition. It's not just women, like many may believe. And for me, aside from any career goals or personal goals that I have for myself, one of my biggest goals this year is to follow my intuition more because she's never wrong. Let's be honest, she's never wrong. Sometimes following your intuition is referred to as following your gut, going with your gut instinct, going with the flow. Because the thing is that your body knows before your mind can process things sometimes. It can sense the energy of things, and it's sending signals that are focused on really maintaining your overall well-being, which is pretty cool. And the more you pay attention to your body's signals, the more you can protect yourself and follow your own unique path. When I think about my intuition specifically, I know that there have definitely been times where I could sense that something was not right. It just didn't feel right. And in the moment, my body was sensing something that my mind had not yet registered. And when that happens, it feels confusing. And I'd love to know if this has happened to you before too, but you might not know how to put it into words because you don't really know what you're feeling. And in those types of situations, our mind is in competition with our intuition. Intuition is all about vibes. What does it feel like? Forget the words or what you see on the outside, but what does your body feel like? Because it's all about vibes. Like Sonia Choquette mentioned in Trust Your Vibes, your body is the receiver. If you ignore your body, you miss your vibes. Do you love to read, want to get more into reading, or just really enjoy personal development like I do? I invite you to join me over in the Happily Self-Conscious Book Club, a free virtual book club brought to you by bookclubs.com, designed for anyone who is looking to connect with other people who are on their self-growth journey. I am super excited about this new opportunity to connect with you and to discuss different ways that we can become so much more effective in the way that we show up in the world, personally and professionally. We are all so different. We're in different stages. We've learned different lessons so far, but we do have one thing in common. We are looking to become even better, smarter, and more efficient. I will be joining you and the other book club members live once a month to discuss our most recent book club pick, which will be an inspiring and life-changing self-help novel. So we'll be discussing topics like emotional intelligence, intuition, projection, perfectionism, charisma, presence, leadership, and so much more to help us all on our individual self-growth journeys. This book club is meant to foster community and to spark interesting conversations. I would love for you to join me in becoming even more self-conscious. Click the link located in the show notes to join today. It's just one click away. To be more intuitive this year, I plan on listening to my intuition in every area of my life because I can be honest, there are times where I listen to it and there are times when I try to make my own decisions kind of override what I'm feeling, and that just never turns out good. It just never does. So this year, I want to really follow my gut. My favorite thing about intuition is that it's so different for everyone, and it's fun to sharpen that skill because it's so useful. It's useful in all situations and environments, in the workplace, in relationships, you name it. It's pretty important. And in my experience, when you become more in tune with your vibes, you become more aware of everyone else's also, and you can better distinguish your vibes and your energy from everyone else's, and then make choices from that place. At this point, I've read books about social intelligence, emotional intelligence, and just general intelligence, but intuitive intelligence seems like it's in a category all on its own, and maybe that's because there's no real way to actually study it because it's such an inside thing. It's almost unexplainable, but we all know what it is, which is crazy. For me, it's one of the most fascinating of all of the intelligences because to be intuitively intelligent is a powerful skill you can hone in on at any time. So being intuitively intelligent is also the ability to see life clearly from a neutral perspective, which allows you to see things for how they really are and not how you want to see them. When you become more intuitively intelligent, you develop an objective perception, meaning you see beyond the surface of things. You see things more accurately. And this is important because your perception of the world determines how you choose to move out in the world and the decisions that you make. In my opinion, one of the biggest threats to any relationship at all is misunderstandings due to perception and the lack of intuitive intelligence among people. Because despite the things that we go through in life, the goal is to see the world without judgment, assumptions, or projection as best you can. And it's our job to heal so that we can see the world with as much clarity as possible. And healing is another topic for another day, but I do believe that that's one of the keys to living a more intuitive life. Healing inside, healing all that you need to heal so that you can show up and see the world with as much clarity as possible. Neutralizing your perspective and just being curious instead. So what are a few things you can do to be more intuitive? Well, you can silence your ego. The ego is coming from a fearful place and it has to be maintained at all times. It's subjective, and that's the opposite of intuition. Intuition is objective. It's neutral, and the ego is not. Don't second guess yourself. Just follow your gut, follow what you feel, and it may feel weird to actually go with that gut feeling at first, but once you start doing it, it gets easier. It gets easier over time. Meditation is another way to become more intuitive because getting still is necessary in order to recognize what your intuition feels like. What does that inner voice sound like or feel like for you? It feels different or sounds different for everyone, and it's generally a feeling, but meditating and just getting still helps. Another way to become more intuitive or to work on becoming more intuitive is to get rid of any biases or assumptions, judgments, suspicions about people or about things, because you want to go from a subjective perspective to a more objective perspective. And also work on your healing so that you're not projecting and so that you're able to see things clearly for what they really are. You have to heal those parts of you that are still wounded due to your own personal experiences in the past so that your vision isn't clouded by those old emotions or pain. To be intuitively intelligent is to choose to see the truth. It's to be okay with seeing that truth and what comes from that. It's to be curious and to be in tune with what your body is telling you. And one of my favorite things about it, about listening to it, is that it prevents mistakes. That is one of the main reasons why I made it one of my goals this year. And for today's quote, intuition is knowing without thinking. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Before you go, follow the podcast so you don't miss any upcoming episodes, especially now that we're in season 2. It's happening, and I can't wait for all of the great conversations to come. I'll be here every Monday. I hope you join me, and as always, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to click the follow button so you don't miss future episodes. And if you see another one on the list that you think looks interesting, take a listen or just download it for later. I'll see you next time.